Sometimes you do get some sibilance from the vocalist that something like Quark was able to avoid, though this does sound a lot more forward in the treble response and a lot more detailed than the Quark did. It is a tiny bit of a double-edged sword. On one hand, it does have great resolution. On the other hand, it does have a little bit of a bite to it. Mid-range is a somewhat weak component of this. This does fall into my opinion of what sort of a V-shaped sound signature would sound like. The lower mid-range specifically isn't quite as full as I would like, and this is actually something that the Quarks do better. I'll talk more about that in the comparison video. But for vocalists specifically, this definitely has a focus more on the upper mid-range capability than it does the lower registry. Now, because that vocalists do sound very present and clear, and this makes for some very, very good kind of cut-through ability for the vocals on more busy tracks, things like modern rap and modern R&B, which have a lot of present background music. This does provide a decent separation for the vocalist because of that top-end finishing. But when I'm looking for a more confident voice, something like Avi Kaplan, where I want that kind of mid-range tonal presence to really come through there, it does fall a little bit weak. Now, this is still very good for $20, and you're going to have to keep reminding yourself of that. Like, everything I say, both in its good components and its bad components, is at the price category of $20. So anything that's good, I have to be really impressed with, and anything that's bad, I have to be fairly forgiving with because of the price category. In terms of downsides for sound quality, that's one of the only legitimate complaints that I have about it, given the price for it. It's pretty decent in most categories of sound, and it doesn't really have any major faults. It just has nuances of its characteristics that I like a little bit more and nuances that I like a little bit less. Bass response is a great example of this. Bass is fast. This is a seemingly well-resolving driver through all of the mid-range treble response and the bass response. It seems very quick. Now, mid-bass through this is fairly confident without a lot of